Professor Glenn Radar's went from zero to hero, showing his brain-dead students that he's actually a genius when it comes to magic theory. He completely shattered their old understanding and promised to teach them the most basic of basics. This chapter, Lecture 3, picks up right after that revelation. The question is, can a lazy, cynical teacher truly turn over a new leaf? And what new chaos will he bring to the classroom? Let's dive in. We open with Glenn at the blackboard, ready to deliver another one of his now famous lectures. News of Glenn's transformation spreads like wildfire throughout the academy. We see another professor, clearly concerned, remarking that the preeminent instructors will all be out for that day of the school conference. He's worried about Glenn Radar's, the new instructor. He laments that a third-rate hack like Glenn was even approved by the illustrious 7th-tier mage Celica Arphonia. Meanwhile, someone is thinking, "Glory be to heavenly wisdom. Mysterious." Back in class, Glenn, ever the character, dismisses the students for the day with a casual, "Guess that's it for today. See ya." The students are left clamoring, shocked that he's ending class so quickly. Sistine and Rumia observe him. Rumia, ever the optimist, thinks to herself that while Glenn might be the lowest of the low as a person, as a magic instructor, he's amazing. Sistine, on the other hand, still can't believe it. Rumia and Sistine watch as Glenn walks away, completely unfazed by the short lesson. Rumia wonders what came over their instructor, asking herself, just what on earth is that jerk? Glenn, for his part, mutters to himself, "Looks like I won a little one. Neither ask for overtime, huh?" He's clearly still got that lazy streak, but something has definitely shifted. Days later, the news of Glenn's transformation has truly gone viral within the academy. Rumors are spreading like wildfire, and students from other classes are now flocking to audit Glenn's lectures, completely awestruck by the profundity of his lessons. He's no longer the worthless Professor Glenn he once was. He's awakened. Even Celica, his original sponsor, is completely over the moon. She's bragging to another faculty member, "He is my star apprentice, and I've taught him everything he knows. I told you, didn't I? I knew he could do it if he put his mind to it. I normally don't take on an apprentice, but Glenn is exceptional. What talent, what passion. Oh, isn't he cute?" The other faculty member, an older gentleman, smiles and admits his worries were in vain. He'd expected nothing less from a man you recommended, Celica. Meanwhile, some students are overhearing, one of them furious, "Son of a biscuit eater." He's clearly jealous of Glenn's newfound status. Glenn is now overwhelmed with work, carrying huge stacks of books. Students are swarming him, asking questions, requesting extra help, and even inviting him to lunch. One student even comments, "Seems like you've earned yourself a fair share of fans, Teach." Sistine and Rumia are watching him. Rumia kindly offers, "Want me to help you with those books?" Sistine just mutters, "Would you? Thanks." But Glenn, ever the petty professor, senses some malicious prejudice in the way Sistine treats him. He's clearly giving her more books than anyone else. Sistine is blushing furiously, shouting, "It's Sistine! Stop mispronouncing it on purpose!" Glenn, with a smirk, insists, "Of course not. I treat my students equally." Rumia is doing her best to help, thinking, "This is very heavy, you know." She even offers to help carry Glenn's books too. Back in class, Glenn continues his lecture on original versus general purpose magic. He explains that general purpose spells are simple, universally usable spells that have been refined over hundreds of years, and original magic is unique and exclusive to the mage who formulated it. Glenn explains that what is difficult is coming up with an original spell that's unique not only to you, but can also surpass the general purpose spells that have been polished to perfection. He then turns to the class with a smug grin. "Ha ha ha, your average original magic is nothing but an inferior copy of an existing general purpose spell." He seems to be relishing in the confusion of the students. Rumia, with a smirk, thinks to herself, "Even youngsters successfully tried to pull one off years ago, but I couldn't come up with anything halfway decent, so I just gave up." Glenn concludes by explaining the value in taking an existing general purpose spell and using it as a guide, noting that it serves to heighten one's own ability at spell composition, among other things. But just because Glenn is a good teacher now, doesn't mean he's stopped being a world-class jerk. At the end of another lecture, as he's about to erase the board, Sistine frantically shouts, "Ah, sir, wait, please don't erase it yet, I haven't finished copying it down." Glenn stops. He turns to her, with the most demonic, troll-faced smirk you've ever seen, and then proceeds to erase the entire board with lightning speed, yelling, "Gah!" from Sistine as her notes vanish before her very eyes. He's laughing maniacally about it. "How'd you like them apples? Half the board's gone now," he taunts. Sistine is absolutely fuming, retorting, You may be a better teacher now, but you still have the personality of a toad." Rumia, as always, just finds the whole thing hilarious and offers to let Sistine copy her notes later. Later, we see Glenn on the academy rooftop, still chuckling to himself. Teasing that girl is totally worth it. He looks over at the city, a rare, genuine smile on his face, and reflects that this kind of life, isn't half bad. For the first time, he seems truly content. But his moment of peace is interrupted by the one and only Celica Arphonia. Glenn is immediately on the defensive, grumbling, "What do you want?" Besides, as if we're more like grandmother and grandson, Celica just smirks, teasing him back. "Sheesh, are you ever going to outgrow that phase? And here, you're getting popular with the students. At this rate, you'll never..." But Glenn, completely flustered, just yells, "Shut up, would ya?" The teasing continues, with Celica getting right in his face. He's trying to act tough, but then another student sees them from a distance and comically misinterprets the scene, thinking Glenn is confessing his love to his adoptive mother. But in that moment, Glenn's tough guy act fades, and looking at a genuinely happy Celica, he thinks to himself, "I'm relieved to see you happy." The conversation softens. Celica notes that he seems much more cheerful lately. With her signature brand of brutal honesty, she says, "Before, your eyes had the look of a fish that's been dead for a month. Compared to now, your eyes had the look of a fish that's been dead for a day." Glenn is less than thrilled with the compliment, muttering, "Gee, thanks," but he realizes she was genuinely worried about him. The mood shifts. Glenn is looking forward to a day off because of a big magic school conference, but Celica is here to deliver some bad news. "Actually," she says, "your class is the exception. It turns out another instructor, Huey, has suddenly disappeared and his class has fallen behind schedule. So Glenn's class is the only one in session tomorrow." "What? You've got to be kidding me," Glenn shouts. Then Celica drops another bombshell. Huey didn't just quit, he vanished a month ago, and his whereabouts are completely unknown. And so the next morning, crap. Glenn wakes up in a panic, a handkerchief stuffed in his mouth, realizing his alarm clock was away. "Damn, forgot that my human alarm clock was away today," he yells. "This is what you get for forcing me to teach on my day off." Back at the academy, Sistine and Rumia find a very grumpy-looking Professor Glenn. Just then, Celica appears ready to head out for the conference. She says a quick hello, tells the girls to be careful while she's away, and heads off. Sistine and Rumia tell Glenn that another student, Miss Uppity Sis whatever name, has a question for him. Glenn immediately puts on this terrifying, evil smirk, clearly annoyed. But then they reveal the question is actually from Rumia. His expression instantly changes to one of pure kindness. "Oh, Rumia, I must have not explained it well enough. Sorry about that. Feel free to ask away." Sistine is furious at this blatant favoritism, and it seems Celica noticed it too, pausing to give them a suspicious look before she leaves. Gah. And so we cut back to Glenn, who's walking through a strangely empty part of the city. He thinks, this is strange. I know all the other classes are out, but there should still be more people around. His expression hardens as his senses kick in. There's a trace of magic around here. I recognize this. He raises his voice, shouting into the empty street, "Hey, come on out! You may be hiding, but I can sense you plain as day." A shadowy figure crunches on something nearby, responding, "Tisk, so you caught me, huh?" A strange man with light-colored hair and a smug attitude appears before Glenn. He congratulates Glenn on being quite perceptive for a third-step mage. Glenn, trying to play it cool, nervously asks, "No reason, and who might you be?" The stranger laughs. "Don't be hasty. After all, you're not going to be leaving this academy." It seems the stranger has set up a barrier to ward people off. The stranger's friendly facade drops in an instant, replaced by a sinister, evil grin. He reveals a strange emblem on his arm and declares, "I'm sending you to the afterlife." Glenn is horrified as he recognizes the emblem. He begins a dark chant, "Be tainted, juicer," and crumble to dust. Meanwhile, two more suspicious individuals are standing outside the academy gates, clearly working with the first guy. One of them, a man with a blindfold, wonders if their accomplice, Carol, has killed Glenn yet. His partner, a brutish-looking man, is impatient and wants to use a powerful unspell to get in. They are clearly up to no good. We see their plan in action. A poor, unsuspecting guard tries to stop one of the intruders, telling him that only students and personnel are allowed on But before he can finish, he gets zapped by a silent paralysis spell. Zvak. Zap. He's down for the count. The big guy waves a cheerful bye-bye to the paralyzed guard as he and his partner walk past. This is bad.
The two intruders stride purposefully onto the academy grounds. The man in the blindfold says, "We have but one goal, to acquire the target from within the academy." At the same time, we see Sistine and Rumia waiting for Glenn to return, with Sistine impatiently wondering what's taking him so long. And with that ominous cliffhanger, Lecture 3 comes to an end. Oh, and there's a small bonus panel showing what Glenn was doing 5 minutes prior to all this, just snoring away in bed. Classic Glenn.
And that officially wraps up Chapter 3. What a roller coaster. We went from hilarious classroom antics and some genuinely touching character moments with Celica to a full-blown sinister plot unfolding right under everyone's noses. A teacher has vanished, mysterious intruders are invading the academy, and they're after a target. Could it be one of the students? It looks like Glenn's newfound peaceful life is about to get a whole lot more complicated. We'll have to see how he handles it in the next chapter. Thank you so much for following along with this entire chapter recap. I had a blast making it. If you enjoyed this series, make sure you are subscribed, smash that like button, and let me know in the comments who you think the intruder's target is. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.